Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Armchair Review with Kit and Viren. It's no coincidence that you see us both sporting Sri Lankan cricket team jerseys this morning. We took a leaf out of our last episode. We realized that we got a lot of engagement, a lot of feedback from our last episode, which was pretty unique, which was an all-time, all-format 11. And we thought we'd extend that with the Sri Lankan cricket team because it hasn't been done before. And it will be interesting to see how many players feature from the pre-1996 era of Sri Lankan cricket. So we're doing it with the exact same format. It will be a snake draft, as was the case last time round. So Kitmina may start off with one pick and I'll have two picks, and we'll go alternatively till we have our 11 sorted. But since there are obvious 5 or 6 names in each of our 11s, I'm presuming we have 5 or 6 names that will easily go into both our 11s. We'll also do a combined 11 at the end to avoid all the criticism and feedback we received by those who didn't know what a snake draft was after our last episode. So Kit, before we actually get into the draft, since this is an all format 11, I had a question. I'm pretty sure you had that same question as well. There is a certain cricketer who retired very early on from the longest format of the game to preserve his career in the other two formats, namely Lasith Malinga. Are you willing to oversee that and oversee the realities of his injury concerns, etc., around Test cricket and feature him in a potential all-format 11?
Yeah, because I would say we are looking at a one-off game in each format.
Yeah.
And we are also looking at players at their peak.
Yeah.
And this is not to say like at their peak in one tournament, but at their peak in the career.
Yeah.
So in that case, I would say, even though Malinga didn't play as many tests, I think he played a substantial amount of tests yet.
Yeah.
Particularly at the start of his career. So I think he still kind of is eligible. And anyway, I don't think because we are picking people from the previous generations as well.
Yeah.
They haven't played T20, so we kind of need to make that assumption. Yeah.
You had the first pick last time around. Would you like to have that privilege this time around as well, or would you like me to have?
No, I think because I went first last time, you should go first in picking the.
I see we're trying to get to the middle order as soon as possible, aren't you? All right. So my first pick, and I'm assuming we're going chronologically again in terms of our 11. Or would that be the case?
Up to you.
Okay. So my first pick, before he snatched off me, arguably our greatest opener, arguably a guy who changed the way limited overs cricket is viewed around the world in 1996 when he opened with Little Kalu. I'll give that to Sanat Jayasuriya, who will take up my opening spot.
Okay. So Sanat is your first pick?
Is it safe to say that I've taken someone off your side, or was?
Yeah, I mean obviously. I mean Sanat is an obvious choice in either one of our teams, and I will obviously.
Yeah.
So now I have two picks, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm not going to pick openers right now. I'm going to pick my middle order.
I saw
and
this.
That's going to be.
I saw this.
And I'm going to pick Sangha and Aravinda as my number 3 and number 4. So I'm not going to pick an opener because I think I know who I want, and I think after Sanat, it's kind of an open choice.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pick Sangha and Aravinda. So Sangha batting at number 3 and Aravinda at number 4. I think I don't need to kind of defend my choices. I think that kind of.
No, it's all good. So my second and third picks, I think there were 3 guys in contention for middle order spots. So I'll take the third one off you. I'll take Mahela Jayawardena into my all-time 11. And for my third pick, I'll format my batting lineup later on, as would be the case on your side. But I'm going to pick my captain for this all-format 11. So I see I have a lot of personalities in my side, a lot of leaders. But I'm going to pick arguably the greatest captain Sri Lanka has ever seen to lead all these guys out. I don't know where he'll feature in my batting lineup, but I'll get to that later on. it will be Arjuna Rangtunga will be leading my side and will be my third pick.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so my third and fourth picks, I think again, I'm doing this strategically. So I'm going to pick Murali and Vas as my third and fourth pick. To kind of solidify my bowling lineup. And this is something that I noticed after the previous draft as well.
Yeah.
I made a decision in picking Mitchell Johnson. I think I shouldn't have. I could have gone with a right arm fast bowler instead of picking a left armer.
Yeah.
But, you know, at that point in time, I thought I needed a left arm bowler, but I think someone like Alan Donnell might have been a better pick in that
And
11.
I think I was going to refer to our last episode and say perhaps towards the end, once we get this formatted, we could engage with the feedback we got by our viewers about the last episode as well. By the way, thank you. I thought we were going somewhat chronologically, but my bowling lineup looks a tad weak after those last two picks. So I'm also going to go with the trend and go with the flow and try and somewhat get my bowling lineup shaped up. I'm going to pick Lasit Malinga as my fourth pick. As you said, someone who's arguably one of our greatest limited overs bowlers, limited over specialists, did very well in the test format as well. And I think it was unfortunate that with his, I think it was fortunate rather that with his action, he realized that he needed to preserve himself for the shorter formats of the game. And I'm going to pick the second greatest spinner Sri Lanka has ever produced, someone who was under the shadow of Murali for the longest time in Rangana Herath as my fifth pick.
I mean, good choices. Herath was on my list as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me go through this. I'm assuming we are playing in Sri Lanka?
I mean, we could, I feel like that would be fair, yes. Let's say we are playing, would you say goal as an ideal venue or somewhere where it's a tad more neutral, somewhere like the Premadas?
No, I mean, Premadas is a batting paradise. I don't think...
Pisara might be a
I think Pisara might be a better, yeah. I think goal is just, let's just play one fast bowler and like three spinners.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay, so you've taken off quite a few from my...
I could say the same, kid, with your as well.
Okay, so I'm going to pick one opener and one all-rounder. So I'm going to pick one of the openers is going to be Dilshan, who also kind of fits in that all-rounder position as the off-spinning all-rounder. And in terms of the entire team, I think he has unfortunately been blighted by injuries in recent times, but he's definitely one of our top all-rounders in Sri Lankan cricket in all three formats, and that's Angelo Matthews.
Fair enough. All right. So that's another two steals. So I'll have to shape my strategy accordingly. My sixth pick would be Roshan Mahanama. Someone very steady in the middle, one of our finest middle order batsmen. Again, kind of went under the shadow of Aravinda, Arjuna, Asanka Guru Singh, etc. But was someone who was very steady in the middle order for us. And my sixth pick, my seventh pick rather, seeing that I need an all-rounder. And I think this is something with Sri Lankan cricket in general. I think apart from Angelo Matthews, we've not had a genuine all-rounder in recent times. I think we need to look way back to look for a genuine all-rounder who could back that number 6 and do his full quota of overs as well. But I don't know, I used to call him Sri Lanka's Bevan. I know that's a huge form of praise to this player. I don't think he deserves that to the greatest extent. But someone who was very reliable with the bat and could chip in with his off spin when needed. Russell Arnold would be my seventh pick. I know it's a bit of a left field pick, and I think he'll be the most left field pick I have today. But I think he's someone who I could rely on with the bat.
No, I think that was a... Yeah, I know. I think that's a good choice. My wicket keeper now, and I'm also going to pick. Yeah, I'm going to pick my number 7 wicket keeper. Choice on who my 8th pick is going to be. My number 7 wicket keeper is going to be Kusal Perera.
Fair enough. Good pick.
Who I think who may open as well. I don't know. Depending on the format, I think I can.
Yeah.
But right now, I'm going to slot him in at number 7, and then kind of see where things go. My number 8 pick is going to be, I think, Chamnayaka, the second fast bowler in the team. Actually, no. Hold on. I'm going to go with Romesh Ratnayaka as my second fast bowler. I think he's got a little bit more pace. So let me. So that's my number 7 and 8 pick.
I think we lost 7 is. So your 2 picks were Kusal Perera and Ramesh Ratnayaka.
Yeah.
So, all right. So now I'll have my 8th and 9th picks. My opener with Sanat, arguably someone who supported Sanat very well and was arguably Sanat's best opening partner, apart from Kalwitarana, would be Upul Taranga. I think he was someone who prospered under Sanat's mentorship, and someone who was arguably one of Sri Lanka's finest limited overs batsmen. I think everyone saw him as a potential test player, but I think he never really fulfilled his potential in the test format, nor was he given the chances that the likes of Lahiru Tirimana, etc. get in our test format. I think had he had a consistent run, he would have found his footing in the test format. And my wicket keeper, potentially batting at number 7, would be Ramesh Kalwitarana. I think.
Where is Arnold going to play?
He would have my number 6 position. So I'll structure my middle order later on.
Okay.
Ramesh Kalwitarana would be my wicket keeper.
Okay, that's an interesting. And I agree with. I think Taranga is probably the next best option.
Yeah.
In terms of pairing with Sanat, so I think that's a good opener. I'm not entire. I think Kalu. I mean. Obviously, during the World Cup and leading up to it as well, and that pairing with Sanat was important.
I'm just going to change my position because I think the Wi-Fi was a tad unstable wherever. Sorry about that, guys.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, you were saying?
Sure. I mean, yeah, Kalu was instrumental in kind of changing the way we played cricket, particularly ODI cricket.
Yeah.
I'm not as confident about him in Test cricket, though.
Fair enough.
And also, I think his role in ODI was mainly through Sanat's performances. There were very little kind of defining innings that he himself would play. I mean, he's a fantastic cricketer, and I love him to bits.
No, my rationale for choosing him was I needed a wicket keeper in my 11, and at the point at which I don't have Sangakkara, I think he is easily Sri Lanka's second best gloveman. Although
I would say
Prasanna Jayawardene,
Prasanna Jayawardene. I think
and a
Prasanna
big
is
shout
better.
out as well. I think he, in terms of purely wicket keeping, I think he was by far one of our best keepers. And I think the only reason I didn't include him was because we haven't seen him in the shorter formats. He was purely a test specialist, etc. So what would be your number 9, and who would be your number 9 and number 10 picks?
Okay, this is tough. Okay, so my number 9 pick is going to be my second spinner, because we're playing in Sri Lanka, and I'm assuming that it's going to be a turning track. And I'm going to pick a leg spinner, and it's going to be Somachandra De Silva, who is known to be the greatest leg spinner that has come out of Sri Lanka. And even at, I think, 37 or 38 years old, he got like 30 odd wickets in 12 tests or something like that. And this was soon after we got test match status. So his peak was before we played tests. But from everything I've heard, from people I've heard from him kind of play, he's supposed to be he would have been perfect with Murali. The legs. So it would have been like having a Shane Warne and Murali in the same team. So I have Murali and Somachandra De Silva in my bowling lineup. Who do I get to open with Dilshan?
I was thinking of this. I mean, you could have Kusal Pereira opening with Dilshan.
I mean, he's who I have right now, like slotted in. And I was about to pick, Kusal Pereira, yes. Okay, so I'm going to pick Dimuth as my opening partner for Dilshan.
Okay.
Yeah. Not only is he, I think during the World Cup, he showed that he has the temperament to play an aggressive innings in ODIs as well. And he can complement Dilshan well. So even in a T20, I think he can complement Dilshan, rotate the strike around, kind of play the Taranga role without the the tension with Dilshan. So, and then I also have a left hand, right hand combination. So Dimuth is my opener with Dilshan. And so that's my number 10 pick.
Perfect. Kit, would you allow me to make one change to my lineup?
I don't think so. You can tell me what you want to change later.
I realized that I've kind of overstacked my batting order at 10. And there was one guy I'm willing to omit right away in place of an additional bowling. That is permitted.
No. You can pick your reserves later.
Perfect. Okay. So my number 10 pick, arguably one of Sri Lanka's finest swing bowlers, someone who could swing the ball in any condition, was handy with the bat. I would call him perhaps Sri Lanka's version, albeit to a much lesser extent, of Glenn McGrath, was Nuwan Kulasekara. On his day, I think the Nuwan Kulasekara-Lasith Malinga partnership was arguably one of Sri Lanka's finest fast bowling partnerships around. We saw that at its peak during the 2014 World T20 final, when they kept the likes of Dhoni, Kohli, and Yuvraj Singh quiet towards the death. And I think Kulasekara would be a good fit here to complement Malinga. So now this is where I have a lot of issues with my 11th pick. I need to have a second spinner, but I also would have liked to have a third paceman in my side. But I think in Sri Lankan conditions, you can do with two pacers. And it's important for me to have a second spinner, realizing, although I know I have the likes of Sanath, who can also chip in with the ball when needed. So my 11th pick is going to be Ajantha Mendis. I think he was disadvantaged at the point at which he was over scrutinized by all the other teams, and had he shown this amount of variation in an era, perhaps he came out an era too late. If he was there in the 90s with those variations for Sri Lankan cricket, I think he would have been a force to reckon with. I also think that at the point at which he was analysed and he could be read well by the opposition, he still posed a threat to the best batsman around. And I think we saw this in that T20 game in Pallekele against Australia. This was, I think, in 2011, so a few years after he emerged on the scene, where he got the likes of Ponting, Clark, Warner, etc. To succumb to wickets. And I think he got 6 for 15, if I'm not mistaken, in that game. So I feel like he's one of Sri Lanka's unfortunate cricketers at the point at which once the selectors knew he could be read, he was just dropped and we never heard of him again until his retirement a few years later. So Ajantha Mendis would be my 11th and final pick. By the way, Kit, who would be the captain of your side? I'm assuming it will be Sangakkara.
Yeah, it will be Sangha.
Yep.
So I'll name my captain after I pick my 11. So my last pick is going to be my left field pick, and this is the pick that I'm going to get criticized a lot about when we post this on social media. My number 5, so I'm going to plug him in to bat at number 5, alongside Sangha, Aravinda, and maybe before Angelo, and it's going to be Kusal Mendis. I think he's
over someone like Tilan Samaravida.
For ODI cricket. I'm going, because this is all format 11. It was between Hashan, Tilan, and Mendis.
Fair enough.
And I picked Kusal Mendis because I think he has proven time and time again that he has the talent.
Yep.
And the temperament, particularly in Test match cricket. In ODIs as well, I think it's a matter of not giving him a continuous run in the team and a solid place to bat at, because he gets shifted around continuously. So I think he would learn from the likes of Sangha, Aravind, then which I would say gives that balance. So my last pick is going to be Mendis.
Very good. So now, do you mind shaping up your batting order, Ted, if possible?
Sure. Yeah. So I'll just run through my batting order, then you can run through yours as well. So opening is Dimuth Karunaratne and T. Dilshan. Number 3 is Sangha, who will also be my captain.
Yeah.
Number 4 is Aravinda De Silva, the greatest batsman of all time, produced by Sri Lanka. Number 5 is Kusal Mendis. Could be a fantastic player. And I think Mickey Arthur has also said this, that he has all the right skills. And I think he slots in quite well in terms of balance. And my wicket keeper.
Sorry, we lost you again. So your number 6 pick is Kusal Pereira, who will be your wicket keeper. Or would Angelo Matthews?
Sorry, number 6 is Angelo.
Perfect. Okay.
Number 6 is Angelo. And number 7 is Kusal Pereira. Number 8, Somachandra De Silva. Or actually, number 8 is Vas.
Okay.
I think he's a pretty good batsman.
Yeah. Fair enough. I'll give him
he should have played the 2011 final.
Yeah.
Number 8 is Somachandra De Silva.
Yep.
Number 9 is...
Sorry, you mean number 9 is Somachandra De Silva?
Yeah, number 9 is Somachandra De Silva. Number 10 is Romesh Ratnayaka.
And number 11 is the greatest batsman.
Number 11 is the second greatest batsman produced by Sri Lanka, is Muthaiya Muralidharan.
Not a bad spinner as well, eh?
Yeah. I think he can bowl part-time.
Right, okay. So in terms of my batting lineup, so it will be Sanath Jayasuriya first. He'll be opening with Upul Taranga. Mahela Jayawardene will come in at number 3. At number 4, I'll have Rashan Mahanama. At number 5, I'll have Arjuna. Number 6, Russell Arnold. Number 7, Kalvitarana. Number 8, Kulasekara. Number 9, Rangana Herat. Number 10, Ajantha Mendis. And number 11, Lasith Malinga. So before I get a lot of...
Wait, where does Herat bet?
Herat bets at number 9.
Okay.
Before
That's a long tail though.
Yeah, before I get a lot of criticism, I need to make a statement saying that I didn't have the option of picking Vas and Murali. So before I get a lot of criticism in the comment section asking me why my bowling attack is shaped like this, I had to make that announcement in advance. But I also think, okay, so do you want to get to reserves now or first form a combined 11?
Let's form a combined 11
all
first.
Right.
And then maybe talk about.
Okay, so let's get the obvious picks
honorable mention
first, right?
Yeah. So who would be? So we have 4 openers.
I'd say it's Sangha. I'll say it's Sanath and Dilshan, if you agree.
I agree.
And would I be right in saying 3-4-5 is sorted?
I think. Well, I think it's between Dilshan and Taranga.
But I'll give it to Dilshan because I honestly think that if he made the move up the order much earlier on in his career, he would have scored way more runs for Sri Lankan cricket and would have been arguably been one of our leading run scorers across all 3 formats.
True, I agree. So then I think number 3, 4, and 5 kind of make up themselves. So
in which order, how would you want? I'm assuming Sangakkara, Aravinda, and Mahela.
Yeah.
I'm willing to give you Angelo Matthews in number 6 over Russell Arnold any day.
Okay. He's not going to be happy though. I'll tag him on Twitter and see what if he has to say anything.
Oh
no. Okay, Angelo at number 6. Number 7. So who do we want as our keeper? Kusal Pereira or Kalu?
So I'm assuming Sangha is going to be our gloveman in the shorter formats of the game. So we're only looking for someone in the longest formats. I think Kusal Pereira works at the point at which we really don't see Kalu featuring in the shorter format of the game without the gloves.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so we go with Kusal Pereira. Number 8. I think Herat. I think it's kind of I think Herat over so much Andre De Silva probably.
Yeah.
I think it's a difficult. I mean, because we are from different generations, it's difficult to make that choice. But I think Herat.
And I think we are preempting
all that emotional
that we get for not including Rangan Herat in our combined 11 as well.
Yes. So Herat, I think, gets into a combined 11 at number 8. So number 9 and 10, I'm assuming, are going to be Vas and Malinga.
Yeah.
I guess Vas will bat ahead of Herat, right?
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
And then number 11, I mean, this is a very difficult choice to pick a prime spinner, but it's obviously Murali.
Yeah, that's fair. I think the one question I had earlier on about our combined 11 was perhaps Kulasekara over Malinga, especially for the longer formats of the game. But I thought that at the point at which we both agreed that Malinga shouldn't be discredited for his early retirement in Test cricket, I think he's an obvious pick.
And also, like, Malinga has pace.
Yeah.
And I think he has more variation than I think Kulasekara has struggled on flat pitches.
Yeah.
And
I think I have a question for you now in terms of captaincy. And I think this will be, I don't think we'll have a definite answer to this. Out of these two, in terms of Sangakkara and Mahela.
Mahela, without a doubt.
Who was a better captain? For
Mahela.
Exactly. So will Mahela be leading this side?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, Mahela is like head and shoulders above anyone else in terms of strategy.
Funny that the only World Cup winning captain in this 11 is Lasith Malinga, right down there at that.
Actually, the World Cup winning captain is not even in any of our squads. Chandimal.
Yeah. So going back to our respective 11s, did you see this? did you see these players as your 22 players prize? Someone gave you a short list of players for two sides. Do you think there are notable omissions? I'm not referring to Tilan, Samaravira, etc., because we addressed them on this episode. But are there any other players who you potentially thought of including in in your side?
A few players. So I would say one is Lakmal. I think needs a shout out.
Yeah.
He's almost single-handedly kind of carrying our bowling attack right now, and has become extremely skillful,
Yeah.
both in kind of dry conditions as well as bowling conditions. Champika Ramanayaka, I think, is another person. I'm unfortunate to pick Romesh Ratnayaka ahead of him. Ashanta Dimel, even though I don't agree with his selection choices, I think I don't doubt his cricketing talent as a player.
Yeah.
So I think he deserves a shout out as well. And finally, maybe Prasanna Jayawardena.
Yeah.
I think he's best wicket keeper.
Yeah.
And he deserves. Oh, lastly but not least, Kumar Dharmasena. I think particularly in job in kind of restricting the opposition, and allowing Murali and Vas to be the strike bowlers.
Yeah.
So I would say Kumar Dharmasena, and I guess he can umpire this game between our 2 11s.
Exactly. No, that's fair. I was going to say Ashanta Dimel, but in terms of a few other players, so since you selected Kusal Mendis based on his promise as opposed to what he's delivered thus far, I would have gone with Lahil Kumar, arguably one of our fastest bowlers right now, and a bowler who can constantly clock 150, 145 to 150, which is something very rare for a Sri Lankan fast bowler to do consistently. And he would have definitely featured in either of our sides had his, based on his promise as opposed to what he's fulfilled thus far. A couple of other notable omissions, in my opinion. I think perhaps someone like Asanka Gurusinghe, who I'd call the left-handed Inzamam Haq for Sri Lanka. I think it's safe to say that he wasn't the best runner between wickets. It's safe to say that he wasn't the most active on the field. But he was a steady presence at number 3 during our World Cup, and I think during our World Cup run. And I think it was only in the final when both Sanat and Kalu departed early. And this is the first time they had both failed together.
And the semi-final.
Sorry?
And the semi-final.
And the semi-final, yeah. It was Asanka who provided that anchor for Aravinda to play with the flair and flamboyance that he did in both the semi and the final. And my final notable omission, I think if you're looking at left-arm pacers, aside from Vas, and I think this was a guy I wanted to include in my side, a left field pick again, in Nuwan Zoiza. I think he provided something different with his height and with his variations with the ball. And I thought he was a very handy finisher with the bat as well. So that is why I asked you if I make an omission in my side, because I was willing to perhaps drop. And this is where it was between two players that I dropped from my side. It came down to Arnold and Arjuna. Why I say Arjuna is because as much as he's Sri Lanka's finest captain, and I give him everything for his leadership, presence, etc. I don't think he was, and this is not to discredit him in any way, but I don't think he was one of our best batsmen. And at the point at which you have guys like Mahela in our side who can lead, I was willing to perhaps drop Arjuna to strengthen my bowling lineup again. But I know that's a very controversial statement to make. I know it's the most controversial statement I've made.
I don't necessarily agree with you on that. If I had to drop someone, I would have dropped maybe
Russell
Arnold. Yeah.
You can thank him right here as well when we both said that.
because I think Arjuna was a fantastic player, kind of from when he was like 16 when he started playing Test cricket.
Yeah.
Through to the kind of maybe 97, 98.
Yeah.
Because I think he peaked at around 96, 95.
Yeah.
As a captain, I mean, 96 was his greatest
Yeah.
year, but as a batsman, I think he sort of peaked around that
Yeah.
time.
No, that's fair.
Um,
That's why I selected him at the onset. But later on, when I realized I had Vasi and Murali stripped off me, I knew I had to. I kind of thought I had to reweigh my bowling attack
Yeah.
at hand. Do you want to get to reserves, or do you think we should invest this time in perhaps engaging with the feedback we've received about?
Let's discuss feedback, and let's discuss like some of the comments that were made.
Right. So, do we look at individual comments, or do we just have a rough idea as to what?
Just a rough idea, I guess.
So I think based on a majority of the comments we've had, except Ms. Shamila Gamage, who I give a shout out to on this episode, I think it was kind of very obvious that your 11 would have annihilated my 11 in tests. I think that was a common consensus, and everyone thought that it would be reciprocated from my side in T20s. But I think everyone had a problem coming to terms with where the ODIs went. And I think I saved myself at the end with Wasim, McGrath, and Ward. And I think my 11 would have looked nowhere close to being as competitive as yours had it not been for those three picks. But we'll start off with the engagement we received about omissions. I think there were claims made for Imran Khan to be included in our sides. I know we've replied to them by posts, etc. But who do you think, what was your justification once again for omitting the likes of Imran Khan from your 11?
I mean, my all-rounders were the likes of Sir Garfield Sobers, and Kapil Dev, who I think were more skillful at one aspect of it. So I think Sir Garfield Sobers was a better batsman than Imran Khan, and Kapil Dev was a slightly better all-rounder, both in terms of kind of game-changing bowling as well as a better batsman as well. And that is why I went for it, because I think particularly in terms of ODI cricket, you need that added level of skill in one of the two all-rounders.
Fair enough.
So I think Imran Khan is good at both bowling and batting.
Yeah.
The Garfield Sobers is good at bowling, but very good at batting.
Yeah.
And Kapil Dev, I think, is also on the verge of being very good at batting.
Yeah.
And good at bowling. So for me, it was obviously between those three for me, but yeah, I just chose.
And I think for me, I think I engaged with this as a comment when I said, for Ian Botham's records were tainted slightly by the fact that his English side faced the likes of Australia and West Indies a lot more often than Imran Khan's Pakistan side. Most of Imran Khan's best performances, be it with the ball or with the bat, I think it's safe for me to say was against weak opposition in much more friendly conditions in the subcontinent. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he had a year where he got 82 test wickets, but that was because I think he faced Sri Lanka for half of those games. And I think at the point at which we were just emerging as a test side at the time, I think I had to weigh that up as well. Moving on to a couple of other omissions that were mentioned, I think the likes of Rahul Dravid, Brian Lara, Ricky Ponting were names that popped up. I think for me, I personally don't like punter, and I'll give you that. I think for me, when you think of Sri Lankan cricket fans our age, you think of the era of dominance under Ricky Ponting, and you think, and there's something, and I think we addressed this in our episode on the test. We never sympathized or empathized with his great size. It was always looked at, yes, it was looked at with awe, but it was also looked at with a sense of hate and resentment as well. And I also think that in the shortest formats of the game, in T20 cricket, I don't see how he'd have much of an impact with the bat. I think that was the same that goes out to Lara and Dravid as well. As much as they were prolific run scorers in the longer formats of the game, I don't know how impactful they would have been in the shortest format of the game. And at the point at which we were having a one-off game across all three formats, I think I needed to weigh those up. Would you agree with that? And was that a part of your decision making as well?
Yeah, and I think our eventual picks up now. I mean, at number 3, 4, and 5
Yeah.
were better suited across the formats
Yeah.
than Ponting. I think Ponting is the closest that I think could play all three formats well.
Yeah.
Ponting and Lara. I think Dravid is undoubtedly an excellent test player,
Yeah.
but I don't think he was suited for modern ODI cricket
Yeah.
or kind of T20s, obviously.
Yeah.
Lara, I think, had the style and kind of the technique to maybe be aggressive, but I don't recall him being necessarily prolific in ODI cricket.
Yeah.
He was much better at Test cricket. I mean, maybe he was not that prolific against Sri Lanka, and maybe my recollections are kind of tainted by that.
Yeah.
But even during World Cups, I don't remember him performing particularly well. Ponting, I think, is the one guy who has performed consistently across all the formats and has scored a lot. But when we picked other number 3, 4, and 5s, I think they had more utility in those positions than Ponting would. So Ponting, I think, should have been maybe one of our reserves as a batsman, but not maybe in the 11.
And I think also at the point at which I think for Lara, I think he was burdened by captaincy in the shorter formats of the game. I think for him, everyone looked at him as the sole carrier of this West Indies side because he was the only one who was their go-to player. And I think, especially in the World Cups, especially in his home World Cup, in his swan-song tournament at the 2007 World Cup, I think we saw him being burdened by those expectations each time he went out to bat. My next question to you is, I know I forced your hand at 10 when I got Wasim Akram off you. But there was a lot of engagement about including Mitchell Johnson in your set, and I think you addressed this early on. Who would you have replaced Mitchell Johnson with if you had the chance, or do you think you'd still stick with Mitchell Johnson? Because if I was in your shoes, I think I'd stick with Mitchell Johnson. I think for me, he's arguably the second best left-arm pacer we've had of all time, due to his sheer pace throughout his career.
And reverse swing and all that. I think I given a choice, if the match was actually happening and I was the man selecting kind of commission, I was the selection committee, I would stay with Mitchell Johnson. Because I think in terms of game dynamics, he would have given that X factor as a left armer. But theoretically, if I had to kind of redo the kind of for kind of academic purposes, I may have gone with either Alan Donald or Sean Pollock. Because you got McGrath, and I think Sean Pollock is kind of the South African version of that. He just puts the ball on a length.
So do you think Sean Pollock was a smart pick for me as a reserve? I think.
So when McGrath steps on a ball and sprains his ankle, you can sub in Sean Pollock. But yeah, so I think Alan Donald would have been my other choice because to give me pace and aggressiveness. But to be very honest, I think I had pace, right arm pace. I think I had like the likes of Lee and I had like a very good bowling lineup. It's just that one left arm option. I don't think Mitchell Johnson gets as much credit because he had that awful Ashes series. One awful Ashes series, but he kind of redeemed himself. The very next one.
So before we wrap things up, looking at this episode and going through our Sri Lankan lineup, do you have any concluding comments to make about our last 11, our all-time, all-format 11 before we wrap things up? Do you have anything to engage with?
So I think a lot of people picked your side to win at T20s because a majority of your players had played T20s.
That's a fair.
Whereas mine were mostly kind of classic players who I picked for being aggressive. So I don't think it's as clear a walkover in terms of T20s. For yours, I think it would be much closer. I think Test, of course, I think it's pretty clear that I would win that.
No, and I think game. In hindsight, when I looked at my selection, even though I wasn't actively thinking along those lines, I honestly think my 3, 4, and 5 picks were kind of based on T20s and Test and ODIs. I think with Kohli, De Villiers, and Mahela, and I was looking for players who could potentially hold an end in Test cricket in any conditions, and I think all those 3 players can on their day. But I was looking at solidifying my T20 and ODI sides. At the point at which I had already lost Sachin, I had already lost a couple of key players, Vivian Richards, etc. A couple of key players I would have had in my side. And now let's head back to our 11s now before we wrap things up. How would you weigh these sides? I know I asked you this about our all-time all-format 11s, but I'm asking you this again. I think we've had a bit of a reversal here. I think your bowling lineup is so much stronger than mine, with 2 obvious picks making it a lot more stronger. But I think our batting lineups compare pretty well. I think you can make a case for either side having a stronger batting display. And I think it depends. So if Sanak, for example, fires at the top, I think it leaves a lot to be said. But I mean, I don't know. I'm seeing the reversal of what was the case with our all-time all-format 11s.
Slightly, yes. I think maybe your opening pair is somewhat stronger than mine. And I'll give you that. But I think my middle order is maybe stronger than yours.
At the point at which you have Sangha and Aravinda, but I think my low order with Roshan.
Because I think Mahanam and Arjuna and Arnold are your number 4, 5, and 6.
Sorry, 5, 6, 7. Sorry, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, yeah, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah. So Mahanam playing at number 4. Arjuna at number 5 and Arnold at 6 seems a little, weak.
Would you put Mahanam in that mix, or do you think it's predominantly aimed at Arjuna and Russell? Because
no, I think Mahanam is unfortunately as well. I think he'd be better at refereeing this game, being the match referee. Kumar Dharmasena umpires, and Roshan Mahanam is the referee. By the way, which reminds me, I think we didn't give a shout out to the likes of Siddharth Vettamuni and Ranjan Madugalla and so on. I think they are handicapped because they haven't played as much ODI cricket. And also, I mean, when we were kind of good at ODI cricket, to put it differently, and also kind of T20. So I don't think maybe they were capable enough to kind of adjust their technique to become more aggressive. But I think they deserve a shout out with it. And Dulip Mendis.
Yeah, and maybe someone like Roy Dias as well, who I think went under wasn't really given the limelight that he needed. So that is correct. I think then looking at our bowling lineups, I think at the point at which you have Murali and Vas.
I mean, you have Herat and Malinga, which is pretty decent.
And I think that's where we then go into our second pace and second spinning options. And I think I would still give Kulasekara the benefit of doubt in any conditions. I think at the point at which we are playing in Sri Lanka, yes, maybe Ramesh Ratnayaka's pace comes in handy. But at the point at which I have Malinga with the pace, etc., I think I needed someone to swing the ball, perhaps a second new ball early on, complementing someone like Herat at the other end. But I think these are 2 very interesting sides. And I think we've covered all the possible omissions, and I think I don't see much room for all our critics to come in with other names apart from the names we've mentioned.
I'm sure we missed someone very obvious. I just don't know who it is, but I'm sure we missed someone very obvious that someone will point out, and we encourage that. So
maybe someone like Upul Chandana, perhaps.
No,
I don't know. And my final question to you is: I think it's good to see our current crop embedded in your side with Kusal Mendis, Kusal Pereira, Dimul Karunaratne, and Gino Matthews. If I was to ask you whether all those 4 picks, apart from Matthews, I leave Matthews out and I look at the other 3 picks, was that to do with promise and potential as opposed to what they've done already. I know Kusal Pereira has achieved quite well, and I think he's our best batsman in our side. I know you have a case for Kusal Mendis, but honestly, I think Kusal Pereira is a lot more reliable across all three formats. Do you think the likes of Dimuth and Kusal were based on potential, etc.? And if so, which other current players would you have given a spot to based on potential? Someone that you've really been impressed by from the little we've seen of them?
So I don't think Dimuth is particularly based on potential. I think he's shown that he's capable of performing across formats.
Right.
Obviously, except for T20s, but I feel like if he was put in that position, he could potentially play.
Yeah, he could play the role of like Hashim Amla in T20s.
Kusal, I think Kusal Mendis is my kind of pick based on kind of potential and a smaller set of kind of data. Kusal Pereira, I think that is more his perform. He hasn't been consistent, but that is also down to I think selection errors in terms of where they play him and such. Like he scored that brilliant match-winning century in South Africa, and then he gets dropped for months. So you've got all that. To respond to your question. Sorry, hopefully it's not coronavirus. To respond to your question, who would I pick based on potential for the current crop? Avishka Fernando? Sorry. Avishka Fernando, I think.
Would Isuru Udana make a case for himself? Both with the backhand, with the ball as a finisher?
Not necessarily. I think he has a lot more to go. But I think Avishka is kind of the only. I think you, as you said, Lahiru Kumara. As you said, Lahiru Kumara, but then Avishka is probably the next.
And no, I think that's
how about you?
Fair assessment of where Sri Lankan cricket is at as well. There's a lot of hope resting on the shoulders of Mickey Arthur, Grant Flower, etc. I think I was saying this to someone the other day. I think we are blessed with the best backroom staff in cricket at the minute. And it's important that we keep them all here for as long as possible.
I guess it's a blessing that we had a lockdown and we didn't play cricket for 3 months.
True, I think it gives them time to deal with individual players, etc. And I think Mickey Arthur has come out saying he wants us to be the best prepared side on the other side of all this. We hope you guys enjoyed our episode. We look forward to seeing what the comments are like. And now that it's purely based on Sri Lankan cricket, we expect the engagement to be a lot to come in, to keep coming heaps and bounds. And I also think if you have any negative criticism, constructive feedback rather, please do not hesitate to put it up in the comments thread. And we will also be covering the state of Sri Lankan cricket in one of our future episodes. Thank you once again, guys, and we hope you enjoyed this. Thanks, Kit.
Thank you.